Hi all, I have a very interesting Bobby Fischer game to show you today. This was played against Klaus, Viktor, Darga, Klaus, maybe, 1960. Okay, let's have a look at this game. Fischer kicked off with E4 with the white pieces. We have a French defense, and we go into the Winawer variation, which sometimes Fischer hasn't done so well against. Let's see. In this game, E5, C5, A3, pretty standard so far. Knight E7. So there's a set of imbalances in this opening. White's got some structural damage, but has the bishop pair. And Fischer is often playing for A4 and bishop A3 later. Actually, he plays A4 now. There's an alternative in Queen G4, which seems to be a very popular choice. And games often go like this, as an example. This has been seen quite a lot before, this kind of continuation. Even up to here, it's all been seen before. So that's like one of the popular approaches. But this has been used quite a lot and popularized by Fischer, this approach. A4 here. Queen C7. We have Knight F3. B6, and this looks to have the intent of getting rid of this potentially dangerous bishop and getting rid of black's bad bishop. Now Fischer plays an interesting check move which disrupts this whole bishop a6 plan. And for those interested of the importance of this, let's have a look. If bishop d3, say black could even play h6 and delay bishop a6, but once black plays it, it's basically an even position. The sting's taken out largely from white's position. There's no Greek gift here. h6 before castling. There's nothing. So black is just getting on with getting rid of that dangerous bishop. So the idea of bishop b5 check, it disrupts the whole bishop a6 in various ways actually. Well, in the game, bishop d7 was played. If knight bc6, it seems a5 is a good idea. For example, like this, where white could get a very good grip and fracture pawns on the dark squares. And if the other knight is used instead, so let's use the other knight, that releases d5 protection. And in fact, here, even if bishop a6 is achieved using that knight left at home, in this position c4 seems strong. For example, white could rip through the position like this with a big advantage as an example, and even win material, potentially. It's a very dangerous position for black. So yeah, this is a very, very interesting disruptive check. And bishop d7 was chosen, so abandoning bishop a6 for the foreseeable future. Bishop drops back now to d3. Tigran Petrosian is often, with French defences in particular, exchanging off the light square bishops and even castling queenside and launching an attack on the kingside later. It provides a more risk-free start position just to get rid of this guy. But here, okay, the bishop's maintained and forced back with this forcing move, and now black plays f6, which has been seen before. Now interestingly, in this position, bishop a3 is chosen just to try and open up the position, even if it means a pawn sack. F takes, black grabs this pawn, but look at this very strong dark square bishop cutting across those dark squares, and for the moment eyeing e7, so black cannot castle, otherwise he would just lose that knight. So this knight is moved out of the firing line. Now here, after knight takes e5, that was played, there's actually a very interesting continuation Fischer didn't play. He played something else which is quite interesting. He played f4. But in fact, it seems bishop h5 check might be handy. For example, g6, queen d4. So with a skewer line there, and white has a big advantage apparently. This is a very interesting continuation, which maybe has been explored in other games. Okay, so f4 though, this has the intent of hitting the e6 pawn. Black now castles queenside. Fischer takes that pawn. And here, yeah, he's hitting the knight. There's no time to take here because of that knight. We see rook d7, f5, taking the pawn out of the firing line for a moment. The rook's hit. It retreats. Queen f4 hitting the rook again. That hits the queen in return. And now a5. So this kind of slices up the dark squares. Maybe black should have played the stubborn b5 to be able to protect this pawn. For example, queen b1 a6, and it's still a difficult nut to crack. But in the game, we see actually knight c6. And this allows Fischer to take on b6, and that pawn without any support is a bit more vulnerable than usual. And after queen b1, it's the king which is guarding the pawn. But now, a very important switching move. I wonder if you can guess what Fischer played in this position. If I give you 5 seconds starting from now. Okay, bishop c1. It's a good example, this position of structure, which looks as though white's got a wrecked structure, but actually it's the bishop which is the overall dominant aspect here. It gives white an advantage, this bishop, without any counterpart on these dark squares. We have now queen e1 check, rook f1. Black takes another pawn, but his king safety is deteriorating now after check. And in fact, can you see there's a game ender here, a crushing move in this position that Fischer plays. If I give you 5 seconds starting from now. Okay. It's queen b5 threatening a mate with queen a6. And there's very little black can do about it. If black plays knight b8, he just loses material after bishop takes b8 and is getting mated soon after. So that's hitting the rook. So there's nothing really black can do in this position after queen b5. The knight is kind of pinned to the rook. Yeah, there's really no defense to queen a6. If rook a8, we can just snap that off and then take on c6, for example. So queen b5 is a crushing move. So the game, yeah, shows that balance between structure and having the dark squared bishop. And Fischer really celebrated his dark squared bishop here with that interesting pawn sack earlier in the game. Nice switching maneuver to get the bishop over here. Black could have perhaps put more stubborn resistance, though, for his king. Okay, I hope you got something from this. Comments, questions, likes, shares appreciated. Thanks very much.